We're Plots, and we're a design agency based in Hackney Wick, and we work with large corporates and small startups looking at what kind of thing they might want to be designing. So if it's, say for example, we're working with a mobile phone company, it's what phones might the market want from them.
Yeah, it's quite precarious in some ways, but the consultancy work is a lot to do with resolving knotty challenges. People are often involved in doing quite complicated things and they lose the plot. So our job is to find the plots for them.
And what would you do in terms of hiring staff? Do you have staff here on site?
Well, it's mostly me and Nick doing the work, but we have associates that come and work with us on projects, or we have people like Adrian here who comes and does admin and visualising work with us. And we also have a business development woman who comes in. But some of the stuff we do, things like the kind of user research that we will do, requires quite a sophisticated set of skills and understanding and practice that we need from people that have already been trained up.
Very often what we're engaged with is design research or research for design. Decisions haven't been made yet about what to create. So part of the challenge we have in talking about the work we do, we have to sign very long-winded non-disclosure agreements, and we can't talk about what we do for sometimes ever, sometimes for 5 years.
So what brought you to this area of Hackney Wick?
We'd just spent 3 years in Pittsburgh in the US, and we were coming back to London for sure, but not very convinced about exactly where. And we've been looking at Hackney Wick over a few years, coming to Hackney Wicked, which was the festival that still continues here, and had been slowly sort of going, this would be really great because of the kinds of collaborations, because of the kinds of people that are here, and a very non-judgmental, very open kind of attitude.
It was also good to be in a place where the contrast is turned up. And here there was obviously massive change with the Olympic Park and the pressure on housing prices amplifying, and it just seemed to be the squeezing of creativity and the creative class, if you like. You can see it every day.
And then all the furniture in the space is reconfigurable. We can add more chairs, or we can have one big table, or we can do mini workshops, which we do here as well. This building was a Gill, which is the first UK dry cleaning company. And so you can actually see it on the side of the building as you go out. If you look up on the side, there's quite an old and distressed mural that's up there that you can actually read the words from.
And looking through the old photos really gives me a kind of buzz about that. Because, I mean, it's a factory, isn't it? It was multiple floor factory. We found a place with a massive wall. Having a massive wall is actually key to us doing our work. You know, you draw out a plot, you can stick things into and build a big context for a project, storyboard. So the clients get a dialogue with the wall, if you like, and once you can start to do a talk through and a walk through of the concepts, they get very concrete for people.
Are your clients a particular type of client?
No. I mean, we work with media clients like the BBC, we've worked with phone companies, we've worked with computer companies like Microsoft. There isn't a pattern.
We work with public agencies like the NHS, the Ordnance Survey.
When we get clients to come in here, the studio is the thing they really love. They like dipping their toes into an environment where you don't have to book a meeting room, where all the stuff's to hand and it's messy, and so therefore you can be less formal about stuff, and they take a breath out. They really feel more relaxed. And we've done some research recently with our clients about how they feel about working with us and stuff, and the studio appeared quite a lot. I was really surprised at that.
It's interesting. We've looked a lot at workplace design. There's a massive challenge here in that those standardised workplaces aren't actually working for people. And there's a massive tension between us to innovate, but keep everything absolutely clean and digital and tidy. Innovative organisations are realising that they need a different dynamics of workspace in order to encourage collaboration, communication, conversations, happenstance, serendipity, all these kind of things. Is actually a really crucial issue. There's cliches and images and stereotypes of creative work and what it looks like, aren't there? And one of the biggest ones that's happened over the past few years is the startup Silicon Valley, and that's been kind of in this country Shoreditcheized, if you like. So there's Nerf weapons, there's a ping pong table, there's that kind of thing, and that's because here the advertising industry dominates our images of creativity. But the actual work that happens backstage in the creative industries is a lot messier. You know, the sort of the creatives tend to be kept separate, and so people don't actually necessarily know what creative work looks like. I mean, it's been really exciting having these guys out the window building the new station, because it's guys in high-vis and hard hats and big machines, and you can see them coordinating. The work's visible.
I think it's a lovely challenge to creative people in Hackney Wick as to how we could make that work visible. You know, I mean, people have open studios, but usually everything's tidied up, and there's a range of stuff for sale and some mulled wine. You know, whereas to see the work, the conversations, the rough and the raw stuff is really, really quite beautiful. I hope you can make a film about something like that in the future.
What are the challenges that you've come across, say, within the last 3 years of being here?
The biggest one is the change since Brexit. Our clients who are normally sort of fairly cautiously able to do things are now completely risk averse, and it feels like we've got such a contrast. Things where before they would try stuff out, it feels like they won't now, and they won't until things are resolved in some kind of way. For our kind of business, that's a really bad thing, because we are always focused on the future, we're always focused on the things they can do, and if they're at all cautious about that, it affects what's possible.
The other thing that's happening is a massive pressure downwards on price points.
This year, I've been asked for more free work than I've ever in my whole career. We've always used the profits from the commercial work to offset some free work that we do either locally here with Hackney Wick and Fish Island Cultural Interest Group, for example, or other projects in the area. And the fact that that's changed, that so many people are asking for free work, is sort of almost taking out of our hands this kind of work we want to choose to do.
And it's perceived as being some kind of people live on thin air somehow.
We consider it a lot about where next, because this place feels very precarious. We've got a really great landlord, but at the same time, if the area just suddenly gets filled up with, professional couples, and as a consequence that forces the prices up, and as a consequence the more creative people leave, then it will really fundamentally change for us, and I don't see a point being here.